Yo, what's good, everybody? We got another Beers with Barton. It is Wednesday, hump day, September 3rd, 2025. We're moving along here in September already, inching towards first week being over. NFL football starts tomorrow. But that is not what this video is for. I know I've done a couple of these in a row. Monday was the final fantasy draft that we did. Jess and I did one together, and Kayla did hers. Yesterday was my dad's birthday. So it was a day of celebration as best we could. And now, today's the day. We're here. Today, officially 13 years ago, we had to say goodbye to my dad. Quick recap, he had a stroke about 2 weeks prior to him passing 13 years ago. So it was like mid August 20th or something. It was the first day of school for him back in California. Unfortunately, had a stroke. We didn't know the severity of it. I still remember the phone call from my mom when they were rushing him to the hospital, but we still had a lot of hope. I believe that was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Can't remember exactly. And if it's a Wednesday, 13 years could have been a Tuesday, but we had some leap years. Anyways, remember the call. I'm out here in North Carolina, parents still in California. So still remember it, very emotional. 13 years ago, we didn't have anywhere near the money we have now. So started thinking about, going back to see him. They sedated him to kind of start checking his vitals. Obviously didn't know the severity. And, after a day or so, it was like, hey, wait to go out there. He'll need help when he's recovering, because that's what we all thought. Michaela was very young. This was 2012. So she was about a year and a half. So after about 2 days, I think, Jess was like, I think you need to probably go if that's what needs to happen. So anyways, happened on a Tuesday or Wednesday. I think I flew out Friday or Saturday, and I went to the hospital. Stayed there for a couple days. It was rough, but spent some time with my mom and brothers. Some positive stuff here and there, but then as the days grew on, just, less and less optimism and more being discovered. He wasn't really responding. So I left that next Tuesday. So probably about a week before he officially passed. Anyways, it was rough. I remember saying goodbye to him. Dad, I gotta go. Gotta go back to North Carolina to get Michaela and Jess, but fight hard for me. Definitely want to see you again. Then as the days progressed, it just got worse and worse. Unfortunately, my sisters who lived out in North Carolina, and my niece and nephew, and my niece's either longtime boyfriend, I don't think they had been married yet, traveled back for the long weekend. They got to spend a day or so with him and say their goodbyes. At that point, I think my mom called them and said, hey, it's time to come say goodbye. I'd already been. So they did that, and then it was definitely confirmed that, he had no brain activity at all, and that he probably would never wake up. But if he did, he'd be a vegetable, which, So my mom had to make that tough decision, along with my brothers were back home. My older brother, especially, my younger brother was there as well. They all had to make that decision, but, my mom asked all of us kids, and, we all agreed. We didn't want to say goodbye, so I'm very thankful she waited. She didn't do it on his birthday, which at the time, I didn't think much of it, but now, having these days back to back, I'm very thankful forever for her decision to wait. And then the next day they removed him from life support, and unfortunately, I think less than 3 minutes, he officially passed away. No brain activity at all. And then my mom gave me that call. I'll never forget, standing in our old house. It's probably about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, because it was mid-afternoon back there, and Michaela was asleep and knew it was coming, but still was really hard to hear the words. Man, that was a whirlwind, just a lot of emotions. a lot of pain and suffering, mentally and just physically wanting to keep going. But very thankful to Jess, who kept me motivated at that time. Keep going to work. We need the money. Just kidding. Being very supportive. And of course, having Michaela so young, I mean, she really gave me a focal point of, I can't just lay in bed and cry. I can't just sit here and, drink a bottle of Jack Daniels every day, bottle of Jameson. I've got to go, support my family. So it was really tough for the first couple months. Really, really tough. The first of everything when you lose someone so close, and it was, the first Thanksgiving, the first Christmas, my mom and younger brother came out and visited at Christmas time just a few months later. And I actually got my first job, official corporate job offering for a sourcing position at Belk department stores that December, late November, December. So it was only a few months after, and I didn't have a lot of experience, and it felt like it was kind of a reach for me. I didn't feel like I was set up for success. I mean, I interviewed well, and I felt like I understood in theory what sourcing was 13 plus years ago, because I'd done a little bit of contracting for the state at that time. But I almost said no. I was like, I can't do it. It's too much. I'm very comfortable in my job. I'd been working at Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools as like a project coordinator, basically. But Jessica pushed me in a good way and said, you can do this. You're capable. This is a great opportunity for you. Don't be overwhelmed. And I sheepishly accepted the job, and the rest is history, obviously. But without her there to support and push me in the right ways and just be very loving and try to understand. Hopefully she never has to have this feeling. The way the world works, she will one day, unfortunately. But hopefully not for, many, many years, because it hurts. And like I said yesterday, you never truly heal. I think you learn, for me at least, you learn to live with the new norm. But I don't think the wound ever fully heals. You just learn what your new norm is. In 13 years, it's not really getting any easier. I'll be honest. Sometimes it hurts more. Especially as Michaela's growing up. My dad's not around to see her grow. I think he'd be extremely proud of her. I know I am. And not to share this with him and kind of where Jess and I are at in our lives and in careers, but what we've been able to accomplish, and a lot of it comes from how he and my mom raised me, and the values that he instilled about hardworking and helping other people. And if you see a need, you fill it. That was one of his favorites. If you see a need, you fill it. That and I brought you into this world, I can take you out. Those are his two favorites. But it still hurts not to hear his voice, not to get his random phone calls or his can barely read cursive writing notes that he just randomly send. And he always signed "Love you muchly," which is a saying that we've kept going in our family amongst all the siblings, with my mom. So anyways, I could probably sit here and talk for hours about that man. I truly do believe, if I end up being half the man that he was, I'll be a very successful person. He truly, although we butted heads a lot as teenagers, when I was a teenager, he taught me so much, and I draw on all of that, his lasting legacy. I draw on that a lot, especially being a father myself. Never forget the day I held Michaela for the first time, and obviously it's just an experience you can't explain. But my first phone call was to my dad, my parents, but to my dad, and he said, "How do you feel?" I just remember saying, "Man, Dad, she's so beautiful. It's amazing." A really cool moment that I got to share with him. So I miss him. But I was able to find, it's actually pretty special. My dad came out here. He wasn't much of a drinker. As we got older, he did enjoy his glass of wine and maybe a little brandy here and there, or Chambord, I think it was called, like a French liqueur, but he wasn't a big drinker. So the two things I remember the most are when my younger brother turned 21, and I'm 7 years older than him. So this would have been about 16 years ago, 2009. I was visiting back to California, so before Michaela was born. Not that much longer, but and my brother and I were celebrating. We had a bottle of Jameson, and we were drinking, and he goes, "What do you got? What are you boys drinking? What do you got?" I was like, "Dad, it's just some Jameson. Don't think you're gonna like it." He's like, "Pour me up a shot." Stood right there at the dining room table that I sat at for 15, 20 years in my parents' house. It's still there today, and I took a shot. I just remember him smiling, saying, "It's not that bad," which, from my very proud Scottish father, to say Irish whiskey wasn't bad was probably a big thing for him. So anyways, I remember that day, and then when he came out here to visit, we went to this place called Flying Saucer. It's just like 150 beers on tap. I've actually got a saucer up there for drinking 200 different beers. I can only count 3 a day, so it took me a while. It's just him and I. We went and sat down and talked. I don't think Michaela was born yet, or she was very young, but my mom and Dad came out to visit, and we just hung out, went and sat there. Like I said, he wasn't a big drinker. He'd do Long Island iced teas from time to time, but they didn't really have wine or any of that kind of stuff. So he's like, "What beer would I like?" I don't drink beer. Ended up talking to the bartender, and he said, "Oh, if you like something that's a little sweet or has a little thing," he suggested this is a Belgian Lambic beer, and it's let's see, I don't even know what the percentage is here. It's wild yeast fermented. It's a raspberry, and man, they poured these beers, and I think he had at least 3. We just sat there and talked for a couple hours. Now I look back, it was one of my favorite days, because as I was moved away, and only saw him once or twice a year, and so to have those special moments, and then if you're visiting, there's always something going on, someone to see, but just me and him. In that moment, just talking about life, and just remember him telling me just how proud he was of me and Jessica, and just how proud he was. But we drank these beers. I drank a couple with him, and I haven't seen him much. I don't think I've had this in 10 years. So I made a point to go search for this. I was able to find it, and thought it'd be kind of cool. For some reason, I'm not sure why, but this year's hitting me extra hard, and I don't know if it's just life's a little crazy. Life gets a little busy. You have a lot going on. You get a little bit extra stressed. So maybe I get my feelings a little bit more just about life in general. It's just kind of weighed heavily on my my heart this time. So I really wanted to do something. I didn't want to chug a bunch of Jameson. It's a Wednesday. I actually don't have any. I think I finished the bottle a while ago. I usually keep it in here. I had 1 bottle left, which I thought was interesting. I can't tell you if that's normal or not because I don't go looking for this. But they had 1 bottle, and I cannot find the APV on this, so I don't spending so much time looking at that. But who knows? It's probably 3%. I don't know. I'll look it up later. But this really reminds me of my dad. That one day sitting in that Flying Saucer, just me and him on the stools, and him just drinking beer and saying, "Hey, I'll have another one. Hey, I'll have another one." I don't think he wanted to leave either. Tell my mom and or Jessica, I said, "Where are you boys at? Come home. It's time for dinner." And we did, because we knew it was good for us. I think I remember my dad saying, "Uh-oh, my bride called. It's time to go." They always call my mom his bride, which I thought was awesome. The world is definitely a much, much worse place without you, Dad. Just really wish I could hear your voice one more time, but just wanted to share some memories, some fond ones that I had of him. And I made sure I didn't say I'm going to make this a quick one at the beginning because I felt it wasn't going to be. So if you watch these, cool. If you don't, it's fine. It's kind of a therapy session for myself anyway. But yeah, so I don't know how much I'm going to pour in here because I just remember this being very, very sweet. And that's definitely not my thing. So I'm going to go a little easy on this, but yeah. When people leave us, the memories are what we have, to hold on to. So for anyone out there that's lost someone close to them, siblings, parents, spouses, God forbid, children. Man, just hold on to those memories. You can't get life back. But yeah, so anyways, Dad, wrap this up before this gets any harder. Love you, Dad. I miss you. This definitely reminds me of you. It's one of my favorite days. I truly really hold on to that day. It means a lot to me. So it's one of the greatest men this world has ever known. Always be thankful to you. It's Larry Barton. It's definitely sweet. Well, on that note, I think it's time to sign off. And I usually say until next time, deuces. But until next time, Dad, I love you muchly.